everyone, I'm Mind, and I just got another issue of the LEGO Ninjago Magazine. You can see this month's issue comes with a Lord Ras minifigure from Ninjago Dragons Rising Season 2. We'll take a closer look at him at the end of the video, but that's actually a pretty exciting minifigure to get. He does come in a few different sets, a total of 3, so he's not like the most uncommon minifigure in the world. However, all of those sets are quite big, so if you're someone who's buying on a budget, this is a much more affordable way to get this guy now, so I appreciate having another way to get him. But I'll actually open up the poly bag and review the minifigure later in this video. For now, let me remove it from the cover of the magazine, and we can see what this issue has in store. It says, LEGO Toy, New Look Supervillain Ras. I mean, I guess it's technically a new look. It's a new look as compared to the previous version of Ras we got in the magazine. Did we get the last one in the magazine? I think so, right? That being said, it's a little funny to say new look in August, when even in America, like, the new look of Ras has been out for a little while. But especially in Europe, where these magazines come out, yeah, that came out in June. So I don't know if new would be the word I choose, but I'm nitpicking a title on a children's magazine, so what am I doing? LEGO Toy, Fearsome Predator, Powerful Scythe, Lord Ras. Beat the baddies, it's time to test your ninja skills. Then we got some amazing posters. Escape from nether space, can Kai and Bonzle find a way out? Oh, that's actually pretty exciting. The comics can take place in nether space with Kai and Bonzle. So without further ado, let's open this up and take a look inside. Here we have an advertisement for the Climber Mac. As always, this was our table of contents, which contains the Master of the Month. This month's master is Neuro, the elemental master of the mind. Neuro's ability gives his opponents headaches, literally. He is the elemental master of the mind, giving him the power to read, manipulate, and block his enemy's thoughts. Even the toughest muscle man couldn't compete. And as always, you're able to rank Neuro's power and write down what situation do you think his abilities would be the most helpful. I know I say this with every magazine, but I really love that they do this now. It's cool to look at elemental masters, both new and old, and just like see the little bios written about them. And I also really like the renders, even if they are quite old. Like, I'm pretty sure that came from like the old Tournament of Elements magazines. Anyway, let's turn to the first actual page, and this is the bio page on Lord Ras. He's of course saying his iconic quote, "Nobody can stop me!" Master, an elite villain as evil as Lord Ras, doesn't get his paws dirty. He has other baddies working for him. Evil scientist Jordana handles all of the magical matters, while Elemental Master Cinder and the Wolf Mask take care of the ninja. Menace. But sometimes the Master has to step in, and when he does, no one stands a chance. He easily defeated Aaron to get his hands on Bonzle, and sent Kai into the nether space with a well-aimed blow. "You're in my way, fool! Help!" Manipulator. Not even Nokt, one of the Forbidden Five, could resist Ras's malice. As soon as Ras freed him, he made sure to take full control of him by attaching a control device to his neck. "You can't control the Forbidden Five! Huh, you wish!" Are you guys enjoying my voice acting here? Here we have a game where you have to take the weapon that you build and sort of spin it around and see how many targets each of them hits depending on what location you put it in. That's neat. I guess that's different. We haven't seen that before. And we have Cinder down here going, "Whoa, that's such a ruthless technique!" Turning to the next page. Ooh, we have a render of Aracor. I don't think we've seen that before. Or is that even a render, or is that just a screenshot from the show? Either way, it's cool to see him in the magazine. Anyway, this is Realms Revisited. The ninja have traveled to many different places and realms since the merge. In a brief moment of peace, some decided to return. Alright, and this is a game where we have to find all the villains in here. That's just a word search. This is a maze that uses portals, which that's actually kind of cool. That's a neat way to do things. And then this game right here, it has Nia telling the story of, like, Dragons Rising, but she's got a bunch of the words wrong, so you have to write the correct words, which is really funny. So, Lord Grasshopper is the leader of the Wolf Masks. He once served Empress Berry Mix. Empress Berry Mix is very, very funny. His plan was to unleash the Lucky Seven with a ritual. They are extremely evil and super strong elemental newbies. But we ninja could stop him with the Dragonfly technique. Well, almost. One could be summoned by Ras. His name is Hooked. Let's turn the page once again. Art or junk? Geo's trying to make a statue and he's using all these parts, so you have to find those parts in the pile. That's cute. We have kites rising. You have to figure out which of these kites goes to which end. And then turn the page once again, we are at the comic. So as always, I'm not going to read the entire comic to you guys, but feel free to pause the video and read it for yourself. And if I notice anything especially funny or interesting, I will stop and point it out to you. So this month's comic is called No Way Out, and as we saw at the beginning, it follows Kai and Bonzle in nether space. This is cool. Wildfire's like made herself her own ninja robes. I would assume it was just meant to be like an origin story of her tournament outfit, but that's not her tournament outfit. She has like the climber armor on and just a completely different torso. Okay, this is really, really interesting, because they somehow call back to a lot of old stuff from Ninjago with these really like beautiful illustrations of stuff from the show, but at the same time get something really, really wrong, which I don't know how you go back and look at all this, but then still also get something wrong. But yeah, first off, really cool, they're talking about different ways to travel the realms. So they talk about the Realm Crystal with Moro, and you've got an illustration of Moro and Lloyd from Possession, like fighting over it. Then they talk about Traveler's Tea, and this is the scene from Season 1 where Wu goes to the Realm of Madness to find Garmadon. And then they also mention how dragons can travel between realms too. But Kai's like trying to educate Bonzle on this, being like, yeah, there's other ways we could get out of this realm. But isn't the entire thing about about Nether Space is it's not a traditional realm, like you cannot escape it, you cannot get to it like the other realms, and you cannot get out of it like the other realms. I'm pretty sure that's like the entire story behind Nether Space in the show, so it's really weird to just sort of ignore that here. Anyway, they actually make it outside in Nether Space, which is something we never saw in the show, and that's actually quite cool because it goes from this very geometric area to these large gray spikes. Also, Kai says the words holy spinjitzu, which is so awesome. Ooh, that's cool. So they discover like these giant rock monsters out there and they're attacking, so now Kai's gotta try to fight them off. They look awesome, though. It looks like they have, like, crab legs and, like, these giant fists on the side. That's a very cool villain design for just, like, a random Ninjago magazine. But now, of course, we're at the break in the comic. In the meantime, we have a maze called Let's Swoop, and this has 2 different starts. You have to figure out who gets to the end first. And we also have the funniest render of Ryu I have ever seen. What in the world is this? I don't know why he looks like that. I'm a little disturbed, in fact. That just seems very off to me. Something about that just seems so wrong. I think Ryu's adorable. Even teenage Ryu, I think, is very cute. This, though, something's off about that. Then we have the posters in the middle, so let me remove those. On one side we have a poster of Nokt and it just says his name at the bottom. This one looks awesome. I think this is my first time seeing this render of Nokt, at least like in its entirety. He looks super cool. There's no like unnecessary effects on the image either. He's got like red lightning swirling around his hands, which I assume is meant to represent Shatter Spin. But yeah, very simple, very straightforward, but it looks awesome. The colors are great, and that render is like really highlighted front and center here. This is a great one. Ooh, this is pretty cool too. On the other side we have a poster for Cole, and again it just says Cole at the top. I love this. The posters have been really good recently. In the past, a lot of them were quite cheesy, and like cheesy's fine, like they are for kids, but sometimes they were a little too cheesy, at least for my tastes. But this is great, because I think this is awesome, and I'm sure when I was 10 years old, I also would have thought this was awesome. But yeah, we have Dragon's Rising Cole riding his core dragon, and the dragon's like shooting out an elemental earth blast. I really like this sort of comic booky effect on the side too, and blue's a great color for the name at the top. Yeah, both of the posters really great this time around. If you're a fan of Cole or Nokt, the magazine might be worth picking up just for this. Back to the magazine, here you have a place where you can draw yourself as a ninja to join the team, and you can roll a dice to pick your elemental powers, equipment, and personality. I like the elemental powers they chose. Plasma, okay, cool. Metal, that exists, but okay. Glue, which we saw in a previous Ninjago magazine, but that actually wasn't real. Light, again, that's already a thing. Chocolate, now that would be awesome. I would love to see that in the show. And then loudness. Not the elemental master of sound, the master of loudness. I feel like that would get very old very fast. We also have another very funny Ryu picture here. Look at this guy. I love just zooming in on all the big Ryus. Why does he look like that? I love him so much. Moving on, we are now back to the comic. Kai shoots fireballs that like melt some of the rock monster, and then they run away, and they see some silhouettes in the distance, but it looks like they're just silhouettes of them. Okay, so it's a mirror wall. They see the rock monster coming up from behind because they see it in the mirror. I do think it's funny how they mirrored all the speech bubbles too. That's creative. You can tell the artists were having fun with this. Okay, that's actually really cute. They tie Kai's story back into Wildfire Story at the very end. This was honestly a really good comic. I think it fits really well into canon, except for the one part that explicitly contradicts canon at the beginning. But that's just dialogue. You can ignore that. The actual like story of what happens is quite good. We get some Wildfire stuff here, we get some Kai stuff here, we get some Bonzle stuff here. This doesn't feel like pointless filler. It does actually feel like it could be character development. This might be one of the best ones in a while, honestly. And now we're done with the comic, but we're not done with the magazine just yet. Here we have Fake or Fact! Hey, they're taking my idea. I've been doing that with YouTube Shorts recently. The news is full of reports about Lord Ras, the ninja, and the Blood Moon ritual, but a lot of it is just rumors and misinformation. Test your ninja knowledge here. That one says that Aaron's the new elemental master of fire. That one says Frohickey is secretly an intruder. And this mentions that Lord Ras is a greater master. Then here you gotta pick the correct answer and cross out the false one. Okay, this is awesome. They made YouTube thumbnails. That is so funny. Nokt of the Forbidden Five joins the ninja. New ninja, crazy! Okay, this is really funny. Jordana is the boss of Lord Ras. Revealed. OMG, she is evil, with like the stock fire effect in the background. These are the inventors of Rising Dragon Technique. True masters, they saved us! Cinder defeats the ninja in the Cloud Kingdom. Duel of the Year, the ninja lose? The mighty spell became a skeleton. Banish the Forbidden Five, magic rules. This is awesome. I gotta get the magazine people to make me a YouTube thumbnail. That's really funny though, like they got like 5 arrows on that one. They love the arrows, which is a good like parody of actual YouTube thumbnails. And I love all the text. OMG, she is evil! This might be the most genuinely funny thing I've seen in one of these magazines. Like there's a lot of stuff in these that's funny just because it's like silly and ridiculous, but this, like you could tell they were trying trying to be funny, and they did a really good job. Like, that genuinely made me laugh. That's awesome. Anyway, let's turn the page once more. This is an advertisement for the Dragonstone Shrine. There are some games that tie in with it, but it is mostly just an advertisement. Very good set. I do love this one, but I have a full review of it up on my channel, so we don't need to look at it here. Instead, here we have Dice Hunters. Okay, this is a cool little dice rolling game. It's a 1v1. You gotta try to defeat the enemies before your opponent does get more points. I like that a lot. That's creative, and I don't think I've seen that in one of the magazines before. This right here is just a spot the differences game. There's Cinder with a mustache, which is interesting. And then we are at the very end of the magazine, which contains an advertisement for next month's magazine, which is going to come with a Climber Zane minifigure. Now that's one I am very, very excited for a couple of reasons. Number one, he only comes in one set, the Wolfmask Shadow Dojo, which is very expensive. So it's great to have a cheaper way to get him, because of course these are the main ninja suits in the show in Season 2, Part 1. But also beyond that, Zane's my favorite ninja, so I'm just happy to have another way to get this guy. I'm really glad the Climber suits are coming in magazines. Honestly, at this point, all we need is Nia. We don't have Jay yet either, but Jay's Climber suit isn't canon, so I'm not going to be super upset if that doesn't come in the magazine. But Nia's the last exclusive one that hasn't come in a magazine yet. And then finally, on the very last page, you have a Wolf Clan themed, like, pencil holder, I guess? Or is it just a box you cut out? Okay, yeah, it is just a box. And it's ninja themed on the other side. And there we go, that's everything for the actual magazine. I'll give you my overall thoughts on it at the end of this video. For now, let me open up this poly bag so we can take a look at the minifigure and weapon that it comes with. Here's the Lord Ras minifigure all put together, and I'm going to start out by talking about the weapon that he comes with. The weapons in the magazines are usually one of the best parts because they use like unique parts and builds that you don't see in the mainline sets. And that definitely is the case here, however, this one's definitely not as interesting as some others we've gotten, because the actual build is pretty standard. It's just like a scythe with a few studs attached to it, but the most interesting part is definitely the trans red bar piece that he holds onto. I know when I was a kid I would have absolutely loved to get that because that's a lightsaber blade, so the idea of a lightsaber blade coming in a Ninjago set I would have thought was the coolest thing ever. Now though, that piece is a lot more common than it used to be and lightsabers aren't like that hard to get, so just like in the context of a Ninjago weapon, I mean, it works fine. The transparent red gives it a cool look, but I don't know, I think the gray is a little bit boring. Doesn't really fit with the rest of Ras's color scheme, so I think it's a perfectly fine and serviceable weapon, and getting a scythe is kind of interesting, but it's nothing too crazy. And then the actual Ras minifigure is pretty great. I do actually quite like this version of him. The purple stone warrior armor looks super cool, and I love the way that color comes over to the torso and into the legs. The best part though is the metallic blue that he uses, because that just looks so elegant, and it pops so much against that purple and black. I love that it comes all the way down to the toes too, like they went all out with this printing. The only part I don't like is the lack of any arm printing here, and that's just because the original Ras had it, and the Ras in the summer sets this year had it, and on the box art this guy has it, but yeah, in the sets he doesn't actually. And that's just a shame to see, because it would have been really nice, and it really would have just tied this entire minifigure together. It's not the end of the world, because Ninjago minifigures very rarely have arm printing, so he doesn't feel out of place in Ninjago, but every other version of him has had it, so it's just weird that this one doesn't. His headpiece is unsurprisingly great. It's the same one since the first wave, but I love the pink stripes, and it's got some really nice texture to it. And there's a look at his back torso print as well as his full front torso print. Back torso print, he's got this really cool moon symbol, and it says his name in jargon. It spells out R-A-S. So yeah, this minifigure's great. Also, in terms of distribution, he's great to get because he only comes in big sets. Now, if you're someone who collects like every single Ninjago set, you probably already have this guy, and in fact, you probably already have a few. So you don't necessarily need a fourth one if you already have 3. But especially if you're someone on a little bit more of a budget, it's great to have a cheaper way to get this guy. So I'm very happy that he was included in this magazine. And so, what are my thoughts on this issue of the Ninjago magazine overall? Honestly, I thought this one was really good, like, all around. Posters were fantastic, like, both sides were really great. Comic is probably one of the best in a while. It tells a really sweet little story, with one little continuity issue, but that's whatever, just ignore that part. The games seem pretty great too. Obviously, I'm not the target audience for the games, but I try to think back to when I was a kid, would I enjoy playing this? And honestly, yeah, I would. And quite a few of them seemed unique. It wasn't just the same thing we'd gotten in other Ninjago magazines before. But of course, most importantly when it comes to buying one of these is the minifigure, and honestly, this one is really great. Not the best minifigure we've gotten this year, like Climber Lord was definitely better because he's the main character of the show and he's a rarer minifigure than Lord Ras, but Lord Ras is definitely up there as like desirable minifigures to get in the magazine, so having him for much cheaper is very nice to see. So if you like collecting the magazines, 100% this would be one I recommend. And if you only buy them for the figures, I mean, if you don't have Lord Ras yet, then absolutely 100% get this one, but if you already have him from one of the 3 other sets he comes in, you don't necessarily need this. However, I still would recommend it because it's just one of the strongest packages overall. But of course, those are just my thoughts. Let me know what you guys thought of this magazine in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Thanks for watching, everybody, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.